Welcome into Before Floor, an extension of the Five on the Floor podcast of the Five Reasons Sports Network. You can also find us on Dash Radio. Download the Dash Radio app for free. Search for Nothing But Net, and we're on there every day, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. We have been doing a bunch of stuff on YouTube. We appreciate the new subscriptions. We're getting close to 5,000, so we've made a lot of progress here over the past month. Tell your friends about it. Tell people you don't like about it. Whatever you want to do, tell people about it. Let them know we're here, because it's not just the Heat stuff we're doing, but we've got live shows on now on soccer with 90 Minutes Strong, Loaded Bases on the Marlins. We're going to have a new Dolphins pregame show called Yard Prep, because it's based off our podcast, 3 Yards Per Carry. So definitely check that out. And, of course, check out Playing Catch Up with Tamara Brown and Kylie Wang. They just put up a new episode about 10 minutes ago. All right, let's get to what we're doing today. Alejandro Villegas is our producer. He's up the top of me right over there saying hello. We got Greg Sylvander next to me wearing the Giannis Bam 21 shirt. And then, what shirt are you wearing, Brady?
Bam, yep.
Okay, so both of those you can get on our website, 5reasonsports.com. And if you punch in Floor Pass, I think it's all capital letters, punch in Floor Pass, and you will get 10% off. So everything you buy. The Heat shirts, Dolphin shirts, any of the shirts, including our incredibly insensitive Marlins shirt. All right, let's get, which is sold two shirts. Check it out. You'll figure it out. Catch the fever. Let's get to today's assignment, which is, can the Heat basically take the life out of the Bucks? Because, that's what today is about, right? This is about taking the life out of the Bucks for this series, this season, but also maybe for their future. I mean, you can basically extinguish, a lot of their hope for the future if Giannis is going to get close to swept out in the first round of the playoffs. Why would he not join the team with some young shooting instead of stay where he is? Let's get to it. We talked a little about this last night. Brady was not on that one, so I'll let you get into it, Brady. Keys to today, and what do you think will be different?
I think the key is going to be just, again, the bench unit. I think Kendrick Nunn's going to come up big if used. I don't know what the news is on Kelly Olynyk or Andre Iguodala right now, but I think looking at that bench unit, maybe Derek Jones could step up on offense and get them some quality minutes. We know he's going to give them quality minutes defensively, but if he could get some work inside, I think that could be key. If Nunn could maybe get his shooting going, I think that could be very helpful. So I think that's just the biggest thing, just getting some kind of role guys and just to get them involved early with the scoring side of things.
Greg, what do we know about? I don't really know much else, right? Eric's already spoken, but he didn't really address either Olynyk or Iguodala. So I mean, I'm assuming we're going to see Kelly and not Iguodala. If I was to have to guess,
I don't know. They're so secretive. Surprise, surprise. But I actually think both are going to be available and both will be able to play. I think that they're going to be more cautious with Iggy for all the reasons that you've stated. Olynyk, I think, will probably get in because it's more of just a pain tolerance thing, which is pretty similar for Iggy too. And that's why I'm kind of leaning in the direction of that we could probably see both of them. I feel like there would have been a more definitive word that would have came out had Iggy not been prepared to play. So I'm not there. I just think that it's a win seed that was on a 70-win pace.
Wow, Greg's a chipmunk.
Did you guys lose me?
Yeah.
We're losing Greg for a little bit. Yeah.
Same issue we have sometimes with you on the pod feed, but this one I don't care about, so that's okay. And so before you turn into a chipmunk, you were making some good points. I'm going to go to Alejandro in a second, although the last couple were hard to make out. Alejandro, what can be different tonight?
Here's the thing. I'm reading a lot of comments, and I think Heat fans are worried, of course, because I think nobody expected to be up 2-0, right? We're all, maybe if we split the first two, that's good, and we know it's going to be a long series. And now that we're up 2-0, we're like, okay, we can't let the other team, we can't let him breathe, right? We have to kill them right now because we don't want to give him any type of hope and any type of chance to really come back in the series. So I don't know. I think we thought with Bledsoe coming back, it was going to be that game, the game 2, that for the Bucks, it was going to be that game that they had to win. And now that they have everybody, they don't have an excuse, right? What can they change? I mean, maybe putting more pressure on Goran, because Goran has been the difference in this first couple of games. That could be a little adjustment that they can do. But the thing is, if you pay too much attention to Goran, maybe you're not guarding Hero or Robinson the right way, and maybe that this is their great game. So I don't know. I think I'm very excited for the Heat today because I think everything that Milwaukee can do, I think the Heat has a response for it. So I don't know. I think the Milwaukee Bucks should be worried today because I feel like they're running out of options right now. Like, okay, Bledsoe's coming. No, okay, that didn't work. Okay, let's put more pressure on Dragic maybe. What if that doesn't work? Then you're going to be 3-0 down, and that's going to be an easy series. So I don't know. I think it's, of course, like some people here are saying, every time there's a 7-game series, game 3 is a key game, right? You have to win game 3 to be in the series. So that's this type of game for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Well, I just think things are a little different now because there's no home road stuff. So a lot of the normal kind of ebbs and flows of a series, when we talk about, all right, you go into Milwaukee, you got to get one, right? The mindset is different. The mindset is different because, you don't necessarily go into the first 2 games when you go on the road against a real quality opponent thinking, of everything you're going to do to try to get 2. You're just trying to get 1. And then a lot of times you get that first one, you relax a little bit because you're up 1-0 and it's okay. Now, in this case, that didn't really happen with the Heat because the normal ebbs and flows of the series are not what they used to be. And so I don't know how the Heat will react to a 2-1 series lead, but I kind of know how the Bucks would react to a 0-3 deficit, which is, think about it. The family's just got in the bubble, right? They probably don't want to be here anymore. I mean, a lot of those families are here for 3 or 4 days, and the kids, are saying, Daddy, can we go home? Daddy, what are we doing here? Daddy, I don't want to do this. Sorry. I don't have a 6-year-old like that, but I know a lot of people do, okay? And so I just wonder if you get down 3-0, like, what's the point?
Right? I also think on the other side of things, like most teams being up 2-0, I think they'd kind of get complacent. But just listening kind of like what the Heat players have said in their interviews and everything, they're not having that mentality going into this game 3 at all. Like Jay Crowder said, he's been down 0-2 and been up 2-0 before, and he knows each side of the spectrum. And I know Jimmy and Bam and all those guys are kind of treating this as if the series is 0-0. So I think if a lot of teams would deal with it that way, but this team, I feel like they're going to come out kind of the same way that they did in game 1 and 2.
I would think. I mean, a lot of
it's a business trip.
Well, right. A lot of players say that kind of stuff, and they don't mean it. But I do think this group does. They have found a group of basketball junkies basically on this team, and they want to be there, and they also feel like they're playing with really house money at this point. I mean, nobody's going to be angry. I mean, let's throw this one out there for you. If the Heat blow a 2-0 lead in this series, are you upset with them in any way, Greg? Do we look at that like we normally would look at like blowing a series in the second round?
I would be disappointed. There's no doubt about that just because of how well they played. But I think a 1 seed coming back from an 0-2 deficit is not unprecedented. So at some point you'd have to have some level of perspective there. So yeah, I'd be disappointed because I think that they've kind of unlocked some things that we've seen Milwaukee struggle with, and we don't expect that to go away. But like to ultimately win today or to even up the series, I feel like to not expect Milwaukee to come with their essentially like this is their last stand is a little naive,
Brady, how did they adjust? Because again, if they come out with the requisite effort, then the question is execution. How do the Bucks adjust to the Heat strategy of essentially building a wall against Giannis?
I think just the biggest thing is the other guys have to step up. I just don't think that Giannis can handle it all himself. Chris Middleton has stepped up, and I think there's got to be another guy. Brook Lopez did in that first game in the first half, but there's got to be if Bledsoe can step up, especially their bench unit. None of those guys have really. Corver, I think, had like a little bit of a stretch in that one game, but that was about it from their bench unit. Maybe it'll be George Hill, just somebody like that. And I think Greg mentioned the other day if they inserted Ilyasova, that'd be interesting for a Heat side of things. But I just think they just have to find a spark other than Giannis or Chris Middleton. That's the only way I feel like they can kind of get themselves going.
I wonder if the narrative, guys, that Budenholzer does not make adjustments, which is now in the national space.
Yeah, it made it there today.
If that creates a situation where Budenholzer makes adjustments. I wonder if he's going to overreact to that.
You're right. You hit it. That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah.
Overcorrecting, get away from the
We're losing Greg for a little bit.
that actually work. There were comments from. Did you guys lose me again?
I got you. You didn't sound like a chipmunk that time. It's okay. we're just waiting for you to finish. He's coming back.
But I think with kind of what he was saying to bounce off of that, I think Giannis is. You look at the other day, like kind of seeing how they kind of react to social media things, like people see stuff. Giannis kind of, he saw like the things about him not helping with Jimmy Butler and hearing about it, because even you look at that final play with Jimmy getting the foul on that final play, you could kind of tell that was kind of him in his own head saying, I have to help on Jimmy Butler, because if he hits this shot, it's going to be the same thing it was in game one, that I'm not guarding Jimmy Butler. So I think there's a lot of things on that team that it's a lot of mental things that they're just listening to.
I think Giannis can be a little bit more aggressive in the beginning of the game. I think he took a little too long to really get it going. I think he has to take it right now. You're down 2-0. You have to get going early to try to play with the lead. I mean, they've only been out in front after the first quarter, but after that, it's been Miami Heat basketball all the time.
I think the point there, and thank you, Greg, for being back. We'll catch up. People are making donations to your internet now too. Between you and Clay, it's like
I'll take it.
Like nobody's paying either of you. One of the things we talked about was kind of the Jimmy rope-a-dope, that he's thinking in terms of an entire series and not just one game. Okay, and he did come in highly aggressive in game one. He kind of sleptwalked through a lot of game two. We talk about sleepwalking. I mean, he was doing his job defensively for the most part, but he was not being aggressive in any way offensively. None of the ways. Not scoring, but also not being as aggressive, kind of getting to the basket, getting fouls, or setting up his teammates that way. I kind of feel like now Jimmy's had 2 games to assess. If I do this, the Bucks are going to do that. If I do this, the Bucks are going to do that. It's going to lead to this from this guy. And he has total confidence in Goran and clearly in Tyler. I think this is the game where Jimmy makes the decision again. It's better for me to go hard here. All right? Not sort of let the game come to me, but put Milwaukee on its heels, or maybe they don't want anymore. They're down 2-0. Maybe it's time to go home. I think he's going to be highly aggressive. I would be surprised if there were 5 or 6 straight line drives in the first quarter tonight.
Yeah, I think that combined with unlocking Duncan, they're chomping at the bit to get him going 6 of 7, 5 of 6, a quick spurt like that, because that's really demoralizing if you see a guy like that come out shooting the way that we've seen. So that would be a big one.
I think if we're going to see it, like you said, I think it's going to be in the first quarter. I think they're going to try to get Duncan going early in the first quarter. But I think, like I said before, I think this game's going to be a lot from Jay Crowder. I have a feeling he's kind of going to be a big role in the shooting. They were kind of playing the defense, kind of giving him that open three a couple of times, and I don't think he's going to let them get away with that in this game, because he hasn't all season, especially with obviously the way he's been shooting for Miami. And I also think Kendrick Nunn's going to be a big role. I think he's going to have a pretty decent game off the bench, and because he's another one that's been getting some open looks. It just hasn't been hitting him, and obviously he's capable of doing that. And he's a confident shooter. If he sees it go in the hoop early, I think it's going to be a big game for him.
He has found creases in the defense. You can tell he can get to the mid-range against them, but like you said, Brady, it's just kind of about him converting. I do want to mention something that's a topic that came up today. It's not about the basketball tonight, but the Heat in the last 5 minutes, just check it out on the 5 Reasons Sports account, put out a very strong statement against Miami-Dade County. The Heat have been pushing to use American Airlines Arena as a voting site, which is one of the initiatives that the NBA just put in this week, that they're going to push for that everywhere they can. They can't enforce it, but they can push for it. They just put that in last week in sort of one of the things they brokered with the players. And the Heat were denied. And not only did Eric Spoelstra speak out about it, but the Heat released a statement, which was essentially a big, fuck you, County, essentially. You're not shutting us up. So the Heat are kind of fighting on 2 fronts right now. They've got the Bucks in Orlando, and they've got Miami-Dade County. I think they'll have a better chance against the Bucks. All right, let's get to a couple of others here. The Goran Dragic stretch that we've witnessed, and we talked on Floor is Yours whether he's a top 10 player in Heat history at this point. But I feel like the Bucks could take him away a little bit if they wanted to. If you're gonna, like we talked about with Dragic, and Alejandro got into that too. I mean, do you give Bledsoe some, more help coming around the corner, that kind of stuff, to try to, let's like bloody Goran up a little bit because he's getting to the paint area and he's getting to the basket too easily.
I think we said like after that Indiana series that the Milwaukee series would be a lot tougher for him and he wouldn't have that same issue. But I think then you look at the Eric Bledsoe coming in and think he's going to be a defensive problem after that, and he wasn't clearly. So I just think it's going to be just the same thing as it's been. I think a lot of people have been doubting Goran in some games, like looking at it, like Bledsoe's going to stop him. George Hill might be an issue in that first game. They were saying that different from Brogdon, it's a different type of defender. So I think it's just going to be another thing that they're going to try and stop him. He's going to find a way because not only is he being able to drive and do what he's doing all year, but he's also has his jump shot going like from deep and everything. So I think it's going to be hard to absolutely stop him unless they start bringing double teams constantly, which I don't think they're going to do, especially with Duncan Robinson on the floor.
Yeah, kind of we've also got some internet issues, so I'm not sure who's we've got a few things. Kylie, the original queen of internet issues.
Yeah, we can't hear Ethan, but he's telling you, Kylie, to talk about today's game. What do you think about today's game?
Okay, I can kind of hear him. It's just very garbled. I'm excited. I hope they win. Every time I seem to predict something about this series, every time I seem to predict anything that includes the Bucks, it like goes horribly wrong. So I feel like I should just be quiet. But I think this could be a really big game for Duncan Robinson. I think that this could be maybe like a better game for Bam. I feel like he's kind of been settling into himself, and maybe he's gonna have like some big points tonight. I don't want a repeat of last game with the referees. Hopefully we don't have to see that. I think there's a lot to look forward to. I think that the Heat definitely have a good chance to win this game, but they can't underestimate the Bucks, and I don't think they're doing that, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, having Butler as the leader of this team is not gonna allow that, right? Brady, he's not gonna let the team to slow down a little bit. No, let's keep pushing.
Right. I don't think it's only Butler, too, because they got a bunch of guys that have that same mentality. You got Bam, you have Tyler, you have Jay Crowder, you have Goran. I think they all have that same mentality that they're not going to slow down. I think when you're talking about Giannis kind of being aggressive, like how he's been, he's going to come out the gate in game 3 being very aggressive. I think at times it's kind of it's not very good when Giannis is too aggressive. He comes out sometimes too aggressive in the first quarter, and I don't think that benefits him. I think he's better when he plays at his own personal speed. Because I think we saw that in that last game. He kind of came out in that first quarter and he had 0 points. So I think that's going to be a thing. If he plays at his own speed, I think they have a better chance of winning the game than if he just goes out and just goes crazy trying to be super aggressive.
Yeah, somebody's had some internet issues, and I did hear Brady there. So we're going to close things up a little bit earlier today. But I did want to mention one thing that just came through. Greg Sylvander just put it out on our string. Iguodala is in tonight. Olynyk is out tonight, so I thought it might be the other way around. Iguodala is in, Olynyk is out. If Olynyk is out, that means 2 options: either more Derrick Jones Jr. in some smaller lineups, or Myers Leonard returns to the rotation for one day. So we'll see which direction that goes. Kylie, thanks for joining us. We started a little bit late today. Brady, thanks. Alejandro, thanks. Greg, wherever you are, thanks. We'll get the technical issues solved by post game. Hopefully.
Yeah, we will. This is the statement that the Miami Heat put earlier today, so you guys can read it. And thank you. Join us tonight, right after tonight's game, and we will be here for the after game show in 5 reasons. So I'm gonna leave it here so you guys can read it, and see you guys later tonight.